Daredevil Born Again just finished its first season on Disney+. This is, of course, a revival of the Drew Goddard Netflix original series simply titled Daredevil. This takes place years after the events of where we left off in that final season, the third season of the Netflix Daredevil. We are still following Matt Murdock in New York City. Kingpin is still in the mix. He just can't seem to get out of his life, and he is actually elected the mayor of New York City. So some things come about because of that happening. This series, this revitalization of Daredevil has come about after the original on Netflix was canceled, which broke my heart at the time. I've talked about Daredevil a bit. I really enjoy the show. It's really the first Marvel property that I truly loved. I enjoyed some of the movies, some of the MCU movies up to then. Like the first Iron Man is really good. I really enjoyed the first Avengers movie. You know, I liked a decent amount of the movies, but I was just never that into it or into like superhero comic book stuff in general until Daredevil came around and just changed that for me, changed my outlook on comic book media in films and filmmaking. One of my biggest complaints about MCU films, and is still to this day, is just that there wasn't really much to the story and narrative of them. It was kind of style over substance. The action was cool and the visual effects were cool, but there just wasn't a whole lot of substance there. I still feel that way about a lot of them, not all of them. But I always felt like Daredevil was so interesting, always had an interesting story and stakes and very well written and fleshed out characters. So when it was canceled, I was sad, not because I thought this would be the end of it. I knew that they were probably going to bring it back in some form, and I knew that Disney was kind of slowly taking them away from Netflix so then it could be like a Disney-owned property. I understood that, so I understood why that, along with all the other Marvel Netflix shows, were slowly being canceled one by one. It's that this has happened before with other shows I've enjoyed that were on a particular network or streaming service, and it moved to another network or another streaming service, and it just didn't work out as well. In my experience with shows I've seen where that's happened, the transition has not always been the smoothest. So now Daredevil is back. This is a new show. I don't really consider it like season 4 of Daredevil. It's pretty much a new thing, even though it's the same world and we have the same characters and same actors. This is a new thing. I consider this a separate show from the Netflix one that went for 3 seasons. Dario Scardapane is taking over showrunning duties this time, who was also a writer and EP on The Punisher, another good Netflix Marvel series. In lots of ways, this new series feels similar and like the original Netflix one, and in a lot of ways it feels different too. Charlie Cox as Matthew Murdock is still fantastic. It hasn't been 7 years for him since he's played the character, because it had, by the way, for people who forgot, it's been 7 years since that third season of Daredevil. He's reprised the character some more times since. I won't say what, though, in case some of you don't actually know like where and when he's come back as the character. So I wasn't too surprised that he didn't miss a beat here, but he was great. I knew he would be, and just happy to see him still giving a very strong performance. You have other characters like Frank Castle or Wilson Fisk and Vanessa Fisk, who also just never seem to leave each other at all. Like, if Vanessa's just such a ride or die, she'll probably always be by his side no matter what. All the familiar faces we see in this show are who we expect them to be. They all still play the characters like they used to. Because I mentioned him, and because I've never talked about this character, I don't think, on here, except maybe one other time, but Vincent D'Onofrio as Wilson Fisk is outstanding as usual. Wilson Fisk, I think, is just one of the best television villains we've ever seen, and he is magical. Just seeing him getting to play that character always, but just especially again, because it has been a while, and like Daredevil, like he's made other appearances in different Marvel things, but it's just always such a treat to see him playing that character. What a great actor he is. You know, everyone likes him for roles like in Full Metal Jacket and what is it, Men in Black. He's actually pretty good in the movie Mystic Pizza, too. That's a fairly underrated movie, by the way. It's a good one, and he's good in that. New York City definitely still feels like a character. It's very well realized environments that our actual characters are living in and working in. They do different things in the show as well, too, in this particular show, to make it stand out, to make it feel more weighty as a city, such as including these segments throughout the 9 episode run. These television segments called the BB reports, where there's like interviews with passerbys, citizens of the city, talking about different things going on in the show, with Fisk being mayor and such. And it didn't always work for me. For the most part, actually, I felt like it wasn't really that necessary. But I like the attempt, at least, to just do something there. It's a stylistic change, and I appreciate it. Didn't think it quite landed overall, though. Gotta talk about the action, because that's always something that the original Netflix series was so praised for, and rightfully so. I mean, those one-take scenes that they would do in each season, season threes, is especially marvelous. No pun intended there whatsoever. It's an incredible piece of filmmaking in that episode and in the other ones too. And there is some good action here. There is some really good action. Some of it is really well shot and edited. Some great stunt work. But I'm not going to lie, there's also some other scenes that really didn't do it for me. Had very quick cuts that seemed to maybe hide some of the stunt work or go for something differently, another sort of stylistic change there. But yeah, certain scenes did let me down, though, as far as the action goes. The violence slash gore as well at times in the show also didn't work for me. Other times it did, and I was liking it, but it was mainly actually visually, like some of the bloodshed just seemed a little over the top and not realistic. It's not like Renfield level. I don't know if you guys have seen Renfield, but the gore in that movie is pretty insane and not at all realistic. It's not that bad, but at times I thought like maybe too much blood or like it's too red. I'm nitpicking, but just those are things I noticed sometimes. Other times it did work though. Really, if you've seen it, you know what I mean. Certain scenes, it works very well and is very shocking and effective. I enjoyed the writing for the season as a whole too. Like I mentioned, making Fisk the mayor, he was a big part of the series because of that, which I liked. I was hoping he would be. Matt having to deal with some personal issues that have come about in the past few years, and kind of where that all leads, it makes for some very unpredictable, surprising moments later in the series, especially certain other characters come to the fold, and I enjoyed how they did that. I'll say before I wrap up my thoughts, for those who don't know, this was actually planned for one series. It was originally going to be an 18 episode miniseries, I guess, and they instead decided to split it into 2 seasons, 2 9 episode seasons. So because of that, this does feel sort of like season 1A. It's like doesn't really wrap up, and the curtains don't exactly close by the end of this season like they have with other ones with the Netflix Daredevil. But it didn't bother me. It might bother some other people, but I was fine with that. I'm really happy with how this turned out. Like I said, had my doubts and I was hesitant about it, but I think that Dario Scarta Painting Company have done a great job here, and I look forward to season 2, which is supposed to come out next year. I actually think that this is better than season 2 of the original Daredevil, and if I'm to compare it to that, doesn't surpass 1 and 3 for me, but I do think that this is above the quality of its second season. Overall, season 1 of Daredevil Born Again is going to get a 9 out of 10 for me. I have to talk about something else with this show, though I wanted to save it to the end. For people who have not seen it, I am going to talk spoilers, so you can leave the video now any second now I'm going to start talking about it. All right. And here we go. So Foggy gets killed in the very first episode, and Karen basically goes MIA from that point until she returns in the finale. Very welcome return. I loved seeing her again. Loved Deborah Ann Wool as that character, so I was happy for that. I have issues with this, though. This is something that bothered me when it happened at the time that the first episode aired. Excuse me. And still kind of continued to bother me throughout. It never really made sense to me. It never really felt totally justified in my mind. Sorry, I just ate not that long ago. That's why. If Foggy has to die, that's cool. I think that's great. I think that could be great for this universe to have something tragic like that happening. I have no problem with that at all. I feel like narratively they could make it work and it could feel earned. But it does not feel earned here. Even after the revelations come up later that it was a hit on Foggy, that Bullseye was, ordered to kill him, it still just didn't. It felt like Disney wanted to go in a direction where Matt was not really associating with Foggy and Karen anymore, and they just wanted that to be put aside. But with the way that the third season ended, they were all kind of friends again, and so it was already set up for it to go in that direction, but Disney didn't want that. So they just had them be together and be friends at the very beginning until Foggy gets killed, 10 minutes later or something. It just felt so quick and abrupt. They just got that over with, and then we skip a year later. And yeah, I was just not vibing with that. And then when Karen comes back in the finale, as I had said, enjoyed her being back. I thought the episode as a whole was great. At that moment, I so referred to it when I was talking about the gore, but when Fisk crushes Gallows' head, holy crap, that was incredible and horrifying. And I mean, the show's been violent in the previous Daredevil series, but that's a new level of violence. Wow. Yeah, pretty amazing moments and a great episode overall. Karen just comes back, and there isn't really much they do to kind of catch her and Matt up. They have one scene where they're sort of bickering a little bit, but for the most part, they're fine with each other. I wanted more conflict there, and I wanted there to be more, I wanted it to feel more earned, them kind of becoming friends again. So yeah, I just wanted to get that out of the way. It was frustrating for me how they did that. I loved Karen and Foggy, and just the trio of characters, along with Matt in the original Netflix series, I thought was one of the strongest parts of it and really the heart of the series. So I was let down by how they did that, especially because I lived through that Netflix run. I watched the third season when it dropped and had to wait the 7 years along with a lot of other people. And it was a bummer just to wait that long to see it all go away just like that. Maybe if you binge the series before Born Again and go into Born Again, it doesn't feel as abrupt, possibly. I don't know. But for me, it just felt kind of lazy. Okay, what do you all think of Daredevil Born Again? As I said, I really liked it. I know I had my complaints, I had my flaws with it, but I thought it was a great season. Really excited to see where it goes from here, especially from how it ends. But let me know what you think. If you had a favorite episode, let me know that too. My favorite would have been Isle of Joy, directed by Justin Benson and Aaron Moorhead. This had especially an incredible final 20 to 30 minutes or so. That ballroom scene, very suspenseful, very well acted, very well edited too. Want to give a shout out to the editing team on that particular episode. And of course, it all culminated in Matt taking the hit for Kingpin from Bullseye. It was originally coming from. Really, really good episode. But yeah, that's all I have for this video. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Peace out.